Hey guys, if you're looking down and your heart's feeling empty, come have a laugh with us. I'm Shadow Soul 720. And today we're doing some Pokemon Showdown, some Pokemon Go actually, is a better word for it. We're going to work on the Kingdom Cup, the upcoming Sylph Road League tournament for April. And today with us, we have my good friend Truly.
Hiya.
Yeah. That's perfect. Alright, so what I didn't tell you before, Truly, is the reason that I said Pokemon Showdown just then is I've actually opened it up as well. Just in case I wanted to get to that point where I could start putting together a team on screen for people to have a look at.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, seeing as you have about 10 minutes...
Yeah, so let's really quickly. The Kingdom Cup is the Sylph Road monthly tournament for Pokemon Go. Kingdom Cup specifically, April's tournament is Fire type, Ice type, Dragon type, and Steel type. You've got to use Pokemon only that have at least one of those.
Yep.
So, what do we know about all of these types? What I'm thinking is Dragon type are going to have the best stats all around, right?
For sure. I normally do.
Dragon types are also resistant to the main, kind of elemental moves, water, fire, electric, and grass. So that's going to make them really strong because you see things like Kingdra with water type moves, and because ice and water have a lot of shared Pokemon. So stuff I feel like that's already what makes them strong. Strong stats, a lot of resistances to common move types. But then they are weak to ice and resisted by steel, two of the other types. So I think that Dragon is going to draw a lot of people in, and a lot of people are going to be playing Dragons. So my main focus is what will counter the Dragons.
Okay. I mean, that's not a bad theory. I went around and thought of this the opposite way. If you want to real quick give me a steel type Pokemon off the top of your head.
Steelix is steel and ground.
Steelix? Alright. Can do. Alright, so what I think is, you're right, Dragon types are going to have the highest base stats overall and going to be really strong. They're also going to resist the fire types, and they're going to do they're going to do resisted damage to steel types, and they're going to be weak to ice.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are probably going to be bringing their ice types from the last cup, the Tempest Cup.
Right, from the Tempest Cup.
Yep. I don't think Abomasnow is going to be coming with the fire types.
No, it's going to be really weak with grass and ice. Going to be 4 times weak to fire, which are going to be way more prevalent.
And I do think we'll see some steel types from the Tempest Cup. So things such as Steelix, Skarmory. I know I'm missing one, but Magneton, I guess, something like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I don't think that those are necessarily going to be the most, the strongest. Like Magneton, for instance, I think is going to be weak because of the electric typing, doesn't really bring anything to the table, and is resisted by Dragon. And Skarmory is kind of the same way because flying will be, again, weak to ice-type attacks.
Okay.
But I think that Steelix is a good bet because a lot of the Dragons are dual Dragon and Flying type, and Steelix's ground typing will make it potentially stronger against those Pokemon.
Okay. I agree with you somewhat.
So I think that's really the star.
I think that in this meta, fire type Pokemon are going to be extremely really good because they both beat out the ice types as well as the steel types.
I agree.
So you could always bring some good few fire types and then just have some counters for the dragons, such as an ice type.
I think that's fine, except imagine your ice types. You're going to see things like Lapras happening.
Yes.
Where ice and water, and it's going to be neutral to fire, and it's actually going to be a really big threat to things like, your Arcanine and your Ponyta.
Yep, exactly. So there are going to be a lot of those sorts of types. I mean, if not Lapras, maybe things like Cloyster or Dugong. I don't see many people bringing things like Jinx. But in my opinion, Lapras is probably one of those big threats that are going to come. Just because, like you said, it can beat out those fire types. It's good against dragons. And then,
And
you know,
will be
it'll be okay
powered
against
up
steals, I
from
guess.
Last month's Tempest Cup, too.
Yeah, exactly. It'll already be there in the bank for some people.
Because it was a must-have for a lot of people for Tempest Cup.
Yep.
I think that's all good to consider, but I like Jinx. I like the idea of Jinx because it is Ice and Psychic type. I think that the main thing we're going to want to look at here is what other types are we representing in our Pokemon, types and our moves.
Yeah.
So Jinx is Ice and Psychic. What does Psychic beat again, Shadow?
Psychic beats fighting types and poison types. So
Okay.
nothing that was really prevalent in this one, I don't think.
That's true. But I am keeping it in the back of my head because we see things like Latios and Latias, which are Dragon Psychic, or is Dragon Flying? I think they're Dragon Psychic.
Oh, yeah, okay. I didn't realize they were going to be in this. That makes a lot of sense.
So we're gonna see. I took a look at the list of the dragons, and mostly it's gonna be Dragon Flying. There are a couple of pure dragons, but then there's pure Dragon Psychic like Latios and Latias.
Yep.
There's Dragon Ghost in Giratina.
Yeah, Giratina.
And a couple of others that I can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay. Well,
I think Dragon Steel. Palkia is Dragon and Water, I think.
Yeah,
and then
it is. Same as Kingdra.
What was the other one?
Dialga.
Dialga is Steel and Dragon, and I think that is going to be a showstopper if you can get it under 1500 CP.
That's true. It's only weak to ground and fighting type moves,
which are not going to be well represented in this cup.
They are not. It is going to be taking neutral damage from fire, though, and not going to have that resistance anymore. It's also going to be taking it's going to take neutral damage from ice types as well. And it's only really going to resist the steel types out of those 4 main typings. Oh, it's also going to be neutral to dragons, but it should have a bit of an advantage there as well. It can also get thunder, so you can also, beat up some water ice type Pokemon like Lapras, as well as any water steel type Pokemon like Empoleon. I think Empoleon would be a pretty neat Pokemon.
Ooh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. It'll beat up some of those fire type Pokemon. It'll have a good matchup against dragons somewhat. And then against other steel types, the water type moves will be neutral, but the steel ones won't. So.
No, I think that's great. That's cross out Dialga because I think I overestimated it, and sub in Empoleon because I think Empoleon is a really great way to get some water on your team.
Definitely.
Without having to resort to an ice type.
True. Very true. But
if you're looking for something like that.
I do think that Dialga is going to be a solid top pick if you can get it below 1500 CP. I'm not sure how possible that is, to be honest.
I'm guessing it's one of those where you need to trade a low CP one.
Yeah, possibly. Maybe from someone that's below level 20.
Yeah.
Who's just got a Dialga. Maybe that's the way to go. Because low level players are actually going to be really beneficial at some point, if they're not already.
Cool.
Yeah, start a new account. There you go. Nah.
Yeah, maybe.
But then you have to also work out the best friend status with that account.
Yeah.
So it might not be worth it.
I wanted to talk about a thing that I posted in your chat on your Discord.
I only noticed that before.
Here.
I only just noticed that before actually going live.
Yeah, I talked about using...
Which, actually, everyone should be able to see on stream right now.
Okay, well...
Which is beneficial.
Why don't you refresh my memory, because I only remember the end of it.
Alright, let's see. You said about basic type matchups. Then you said about steel types maybe not being too useful. Alolan Exeggutor is up there, weak to ice and fire.
Yeah, I think Alolan Exeggutor is going to be the least useful dragon in the game. It's going to be almost as bad as Abomasnow.
Yeah, possibly, for sure. It has a huge weakness to ice.
So Mawile is what I am really interested in.
I am actually too, actually.
Actually. So, okay, so I talked about Shelgon a little bit in that post. Shelgon is, I read a site, like Ranked Boost or something, talked about, like, Shelgon's going to be, probably going to be a really good defender, because it's already got good defensive stats, right? Being that it is a...
Shelgon.
It's kind of a low-level stage,
I'm
right?
not sure. I'm not very familiar with larval state Pokemon though.
Larval stage.
But I understand what you mean.
Pupil.
The fact that you have to get
In,
their
like,
CP up
Hydra.
to the higher levels to compete with things like Salamence.
Yeah.
Mean that its stats are going to be high and like near abouts the same. Is that the argument?
Yeah, I think it's base stat. I think the thing with not fully evolved Pokemon is that their base stats are higher
Yeah.
than of their counterparts at.
Yep.
Um,
So then, in
Like, so
comparison to Salamence, Shelgon should have like more defense, is what you're trying to say, and
yes.
maybe less attack.
Shogun should have. Yeah, I
It would
think
just be
that's
more
true.
all-rounded. Yep.
And I think that it is a really strong pick because it is going to get. Well, I believe it gets fire moves and dragon moves. So, obviously, fire is going to be strong against ice and steel. Dragon is going to be strong against dragon. So that's most of your types right there.
Yep.
And if you load it as a defensive pick, if you load it up with a move that charges up the charge moves quickly, and a charge move with 2 bars that you can just spam out, I think that it's going to last a long time, resist a lot of things, and be effective against a lot of Pokemon that you'll see. It's just kind of an all-around counter in my mind. What do you think about that?
About wait, which Pokemon was this?
About Shelgon?
Shelgon. I don't know. I'm not really a huge fan of Shelgon, only because its typing doesn't bring anything unique to the table. So everyone's already planning
That's
for those
true.
4 types.
That's true.
Unless you think that a generic type is going to be just really huge in stats and powerful on its own right, then I
Yeah.
don't think there's much point in bringing something that doesn't bring something unique.
I understand, but I also think that I think it's important to have a core, like, even if that's not what you end up bringing on your team, to kind of conceptualize around that. You say, all right, well, this is a pure dragon type.
There
And I
isn't too many
prefer
pure dragons, you're right.
Yeah, I prefer Shelgon over
Dragonair?
Salamence because
Oh, yeah.
because it doesn't have that flying type, which is going to make it weak to the things it's supposed to be.
Even
beating up
weaker
on.
to ice.
Yeah.
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 But that's really all, to be honest. It just makes it weaker to ice. But it will be weaker to rock types. So, I can
So
actually...
Steelix again.
I mean, Steelix is ground and steel, but it does get rock type
You're
moves.
right. Steelix is ground. Yeah.
If you want, I can actually reveal on stream the Pokemon that I thought were top picks for this. One of them actually being Steelix. Both because it's a ground type and a steel type, so it can deal with those fire types in the meta. It's steel type beating a lot of the ice types, and then it's typing all around just resisting dragon. So I feel like it's
Okay.
fairly solid. And its ground type also beating other steel type Pokemon that oppose it.
True.
So I feel like if you have, say, Earthquake or something on there, you're beating a fair amount of opposing Pokemon. If you've got Crunch on there, then, you know, you can be gunning for that Giratina, which I hadn't really thought about.
True.
I also chose Lapras in my top 6, just because, as we
Alright.
saw from the Tempest Cup, Lapras was probably the number 1 pick for that. Just really strong water-ice type. It can beat a lot of the fire types because it's water typing. It also comes out neutral in that battle. It's ice type, so it beats dragons. It's water type, so it can beat a lot of water and ground types and steel and ground types and steel and rock types, such as Steelix or maybe like, I don't know, Aggron, something like that.
Okay.
And against other ice types, well, you know, it resists ice. So that's already a pretty big win.
Yes.
Yes. After that, I was thinking about something like Flygon, actually, because I don't think Garchomp's in the game yet, is it?
I don't believe so, but
No.
I think you're right with Flygon. I think you're onto something.
Yep, definitely, because it's ground and dragon. The ground typing, again, helping it against fire types. The thing that dragons normally can't do too much to, although they resist quite a lot. It is super duper weak to ice, so that's all you have to keep in mind. Have your switches ready for that possible future thing. It's weak to dragons, but it also, you know, dragons beat dragons.
Yes.
And then against, what was the other type? Steel. Well, ground types beat steel.
Yeah.
So it comes out with a fairly favourable matchup apart from ice types, which are going to be huge, but it's just something different as well, where you don't have to have a flying dragon.
Yeah. No, I'm into it. I think Flygon is as a choice pick. Anything else?
Yep, for sure. Mawile was also on this list, just because
Yeah,
it's
talk to me
still
about
very.
Mawile.
Yep, it's real good. For me, it's real good because its fairy typing can help it destroy dragons. And then in the games before Pokemon Go, fairy type Pokemon would take absolutely no damage at all from dragons. I'm not sure if this is actually in Pokemon Go and implemented, or if it's just I don't know, normal resisted damage.
Yeah, invulnerabilities do not happen. Nothing is invulnerable in Pokemon Go. It may be a boosted, resistance, or maybe regular resistance.
Well, if it's a regular resistance, either way, it's taking 4 times less damage from dragons because it's steel type as well. Against other steel types, though, it's going to be taking neutral damage, which isn't too favourable. Against ice types, it's a steel type, it's going to destroy those. Against fire types, it's losing out. So, all in all, it's kind of just a unique steel type. It's one of the only fairies that I can really see you bring into this sort of game.
I think it's
going to be
unique in that
useful
regard.
against, I think, every dragon, basically, apart from, I guess, Dialga. And that's about it. It's just there because it's a unique steel type.
Yeah, I think the typing is going to make it really interesting to use. Just gotta hit some rays and power one up as fast as you can.
But I did look into its moveset a little bit, and it's a little bit lackluster, to be honest.
How is it? You only really need like
its
play
fast
nice and
move
some skill moves.
is Astonish or Bite, so that's really good for Giratina. This Pokemon absolutely shuts it down, and any Psychic variant Pokemon. But
All right.
its charged move, Play Rough, is only 1 bar as well, so you're not getting 2 charges out of it. So
Does it have
it's
2 charge
yeah.
moves?
It's only it's got more than 1 charge move. I think the other one's Iron Head, and the other one that it has apart from those 2, I don't think is really worth talking about, but I don't really remember.
Okay.
So you can make it a Steel type if you'd rather just do that, but you could just get something like Registeel if you'd rather just a plain Steel type over this thing.
True. I think
Unless you've got the
Fairy.
2 charge moves.
I think having Fairy to resist the Dragon typing. Oh, Steel already resists it. I think there is 4 times resistance, but yeah.
Yeah, there should be, I think. But
I want to talk really quick about Houndoom and Arcanine.
Yep.
With Dark and Fire, but I am out of time, so I'll let you chat with your stream about that, unless you want to adjourn right now.
Well, I could say that one other Pokemon on my list is Aggron.
Okay.
Because it's a rock type, so it beats fire types. It's a rock type and a steel type, so it beats ice types. It's a rock type, so it beats any dragon flying types. Yeah.
Alright.
I think it's pretty good. I think it might be able to get Earthquake, which will beat steel types as well.
Yeah. I think Aggron could be real good. I'm interested in the not fully evolved forms of
Lairon.
Aron and Aggron.
Yeah, Lairon could be interesting as well.
Yeah.
I do have one more
think
Pokemon on my
Populations-
list, but if you can't hear it out and you don't have the time, that's all good.
Well, why don't you spoil it for me, and we'll leave on a cliffhanger.
Alright, so the last Pokemon on my list is actually a tie between 2. It's either Infernape or Blaziken.
Whoa, what a crazy twist! Alright, stream, that's all we got time for.
Ah!
Don't feel down in your soul, Shadow Soul. Oh man, I botched it. Alright,
Yeah.
I gotta go. I'll talk to you later.
All good. Take care.
Bye.
Bye, Truly. Alright. Hope you guys enjoyed having Truly on the stream. Alright. So now, if you want, I'll break down the reason why I've picked either... what's it called? Combusken, Blaziken or Infernape. So the reason why is because it's a fire fighting type. So in other words, its fire typing can already beat ice types, and it can already beat steel types. Now its fighting typing will help it beat ice types again, steel types again, but it also helps for different variants. So like, Infernape will be able to beat Lapras, for example, with fighting type moves rather than fire type moves. Against steel types, if there's an Aggron, it's going to get destroyed by fighting type moves. Steelix will also get destroyed by fighting type moves, a little bit. Well, it's weak to it. But it won't. Those two won't actually get hit by fire type moves. So I feel like these sorts of firefighting Pokemon will also be really good and effective against some steel variants and some ice variants. Against dragon Pokemon, it really depends. If it's just like the fighting type coverage will be neutral against a lot of dragons, unless they're flying dragon types, of course, as you guys know. In that case, this guy isn't too good. Against other fire types, fighting's a nice neutral stab that they might not have. So, against like a Charizard, for example, I think actually it might be able to get a flying type move. Hang on. I know there's definitely some fire type Pokemon that don't get any other sort of coverage apart from fire types though. So 5v5 matchups, Infernape and Blaziken might actually have the most effective matchup. Now, which one of these you choose is up to you. It's up to what you have available. If you can get the CP low enough, because that's also somewhat difficult. I think your CP for the starter Pokemon have to be about 400 for Torchic and Chimchar. I could be wrong though, so don't take take it with a grain of salt. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, I don't know actually what moves these two Pokemon get, Infernape and Blaziken. So they could differ a little bit, and the difference between their DPS in moves might actually be enough to push one over the edge over the other. So definitely look into that. Now, something I do want to say about this cup is I don't think that flying type Pokemon are that good. Mainly because they're weak to ice type Pokemon. They don't do much to steel type Pokemon. I don't know. That's pretty much it actually. That's all I've really got for an argument. I feel like anything with rock type moves is going to be really strong in this cup because rock types beat both fire, ice, and sometimes dragon flying types. Not that there's probably going to be too many of those. So if people do decide to bring flying types, they'll have to watch out for any rock users. I feel like aside from rock Pokemon, ground type Pokemon are really good in this as well. Because ground beats fire, it beats steel, loses out to ice, but we've already covered that. But I think it's a fairly strong offensive typing in general, and it is throughout the games as well. So if they bring like a poison type Pokemon, that's going down. Not that I can think of a poison type Pokemon with any of these. But as Truly said before, there will be a few ghost type Pokemon, a few psychic type Pokemon. Other things to consider are things like Frostlass. What else? Giratina. There was a few psychic type Pokemon. What is it? Metagross? I don't know if you can actually get a CP 1500 Metagross, but if you can, this is the meta to watch out for those because they have pretty strong stats. I don't know how much that will convert into it. We can also have what's that other Pokemon? The one that looks like a bell. It's blue. Bronzong. You can also find Bronzong as well with things like Latios and Latias. So there will possibly be some Psychic type Pokemon. Steelix gets Crunch. Mawile gets Astonish and Bite. Truly was saying that Arcanine also gets Crunch, I think, or Bite. So those are a few Pokemon that will be able to counter those things if that's a problem for you. For me personally though, I'm just going to be relying on things like Mawile and things like Lapras. To knock out Giratina, so just like the standard dragon type weaknesses, because we know that's going to be a type anyway, regardless. So anything that you bring to beat a dragon type should be able to beat Giratina, in my opinion. Not that I've seen much gameplay on Giratina, I hear it wrecks in the Ultra League, but yes, that's my opinion. Also, if you guys have heard about Deoxys D defense form coming out, it's apparently really good. It's going to break the meta or something because it gets the move Counter, a fighting type move, which beats one of its only weaknesses in dark types. So then it's only got to worry about bug types, and they're not normally as prevalent. And if they are, they have a lot more weaknesses. So something to quickly just change the topic and say, look out for those, because those will be in raids, EX raids in your local areas at the moment or soon. So feel free to pick up one of those, because they'll be important later. Maybe not in one of these tourneys, who knows, but yeah, 1500 CP, one of those is gonna wreck. Alright, what other Pokemon have I missed out? I think Magnezone is really good, because I found out that you can get it to 1500 if your Magnemite's at like, I don't know, less than 300 CP, I believe, maybe around 200 and something. So Magnezone could be powerful because it's a steel type, it resists a lot of things. It's only weak to ground by a huge margin though, and it's weak to fire and fighting. So like I said, some fighting types might be useful in this, but also fire types are going to be prevalent, so maybe Magnezone isn't the best Pokemon for this meta, although its typing can beat any ice water Pokemon. It can beat ice Pokemon in general because it's steel type, and I think that's about it actually. Oh, its electric type moves do neutral damage to steel types, so that's also not too bad. And it resists ice, so I don't know. Magnezone's going to be powerful, but maybe not enough to be top tier. Something else that I considered, let's see, Altaria. That was here last time. It could come back. I don't know why. It's just kind of bulky, and people used it in the last cup, so if they don't have anything, they might have leveled that up. So you might see that coming back. Oh, something else that I think is pretty huge for this meta is Mamoswine, because you can get a Mamoswine, you can bring that back. You may have used it in the Tempest Cup. I don't know if Mamoswine actually fared very well in that. I was using a Piloswine myself, and it didn't seem to do very well. But that was a Piloswine. So Mamoswine, being an ice type, it beats a lot of the dragons in this meta. It beats, I mean, that's all I really had to say about that, isn't it? But its ground typing will help you beat fire types as well, and steel types. So that's steel types, fire types, and dragon types that it can beat with its dual stabs. And having access to Stone Edge, I believe, a rock type move, will also be pretty crucial for beating these exact same type matchups. And yeah, any flying dragons, as always. A flying type just doesn't seem to do too well in this meta because of all the top tier sort of picks. So like against, you know, anything that has a potential rock type move, like possibly Steelix, I'm not sure. A Lapras, you know, against an Aggron, you're probably going to get rocked. Your dragon flying type's going to go down because of that flying weakness. If for some reason you can bring a Gyarados into this, no, you can't. I misspoke, my bad. Okay. Anyway, let's have a quick gaze at what other dragon Pokemon you could be bringing to this. Exeggutor, it's getting knocked out probably, like we said before. Kingdra! Kingdra is also my other huge final pick. So, for some reason I decided, yeah, I've got 7 Pokemon, I'm probably not going to use all of these guys. Actually, I don't think I even have a Steelix, so there you go. But I think Kingdra is going to be another huge pick, because Kingdra naturally is only weak to fairy types. That's it. Oh, and dragon types, sorry, and dragons. So it'll beat other dragons, it'll lose against other dragons, but most importantly, you're probably not going to see any fairy types apart from Morwell, and that's another reason why I want to bring Morwell. But Kingdra, it's pretty good. It's neutral to ice, so it's not too risky as a dragon type. It'll beat fire types because of its water typing. Against steel types, it should be okay, I guess. Yeah, that's all I really want to say. It doesn't have too many weaknesses. So you just have to worry about those dragon types for it. Not bad at all. So if you want a nice neutral Pokemon, that's there. I talked about Flygon. Salamence, it's another flying dragon type. I'm not sure how well that goes. I think it can learn like a flamethrower and surf maybe. So if for some reason you have both of those 2 moves on, that could be a pretty decent Pokemon, I guess. Because the fire typing will beat a lot of ice types as well, and be able to hit them back. Ice types will do more damage to you, don't get me wrong. but you'll still be able to hit them back. But fire type moves like Flamethrower will also be able to hit Steel type Pokemon. But because it's a charged move, you're not going to be spamming it all the time. You're probably going to be using like a Flying type move or a Dragon type move. So you'll be able to beat Steel type Pokemon if you can land that. I'm not sure how long you want to charge that up for. Latios and Latios, we talked about that briefly. Rayquay, I'm pretty sure can't get to this lower CP. Good thing too. I don't know if Dialga and Palkia can get this low either, but I guess anything can. I guess. That's it for that. Let's check out some fire type Pokemon. So now I'm just going a little bit more in depth, guys. You don't have to worry about this. You can bring Charizard, but like I said before, it's a flying type, so maybe it's not the best. Although if you're worried about any ground type Pokemon coming in like Steelix or Flygon, you can bring it. But, or actually, something I forgot to, no, I didn't forget to mention it, you can't bring Quackazar. Alright, yeah, Charizard's there. That's all I'm going to say. It beats Steel types, it beats Ice types, but it's neutral, it takes neutral damage from Ice types, so they can hit it back a little bit. It's super weak to rocks, and it's normally got, I think, a 1 charge move. So it'll take a while for you to actually get some damage off with it. But if you don't have anything else, Charizard is a mighty fine pick, especially if you have its, what is it, Blast Burn or something like that on it? That'd be cool. Only if you can land it, but yeah. Arcanine, solid fire type. Ninetales, I think, can get Solar Beam, which makes it pretty unique. So you might want to think about that as well, because Solar Beam will be able to hit rock types and ground types. Not that you're really worried about any of those, because, you know, things like Flygon, Steelix, and Aggron, you're not going to worry about it. It'll hit some Ice Water type Pokemon if it's got Solar Beam, but otherwise I wouldn't really worry, especially with all the flying types and fire types in the meta. Rapidash looks pretty cool, I suppose. I don't know. There's probably better fire type Pokemon because you can get things like Entei. So don't forget that. Entei's huge. You can put in Articuno, but that's a flying type, so I probably wouldn't worry. I mean, it'll do damage. It'll do damage. If you don't have any available Pokemon, just slapping some legendaries on your team will be pretty good. I don't expect to win the competition, but expect to put up a decent fight if you're just showing up on the day or you're not doing anything else. But if you're just showing up on the day, you probably didn't watch this, so don't worry. Or if you did, that's cool. Flareon, yeah, it's neat, it's good. Magmar, it can learn some pretty cool attacks. I think it might be able to get things like Thunder Punch and Low Kick, I could be wrong. Moltres, interesting. Same as Charizard typing. Typhlosion, I think, will be huge. Probably one of the best fire types, because it can get Blast Burn. And it does a lot. It does a lot. I've been told that it might be one of the best fire type Pokemon outside of legendaries. So yeah, it's got the stats, it's got the attack power to do it. Magcargo. So truly thought Houndoom would be really good for a lot of those Psychic type Pokemon, but I think Magcargo would actually be really nice. Although you're going to have to level it a lot probably to get the 1500 CP. But it's fire and rock type. So it's weak to ground, so watch out for Steelix. But because of its fire typing and its rock typing, it's going to be able to beat ice types, fire types, and steel types. Apart from Steelix, I guess, and Aggron. And its rock typing will mean that it's pretty good against any dragon flying types. And they always have to worry about that. And it can get a quick move that's actually rock type as well. From memory, I think it's something like Rock Throw. So to have a Pokemon in this meta with a stab quick move that's a rock type, I think is pretty good. Especially because rock just beats ice and fire and dragon flying. Yep. And then its fire typing just takes care of steel, so it feels like it does a lot. But I don't know if its stats are actually that good to put it on the table, but we'll find out. Ho-Oh, fire flying. Camerupt, I think, is another unique one, because Camerupt is fire ground type. You may have used it in the previous cup. It gets a fighting fast move in, I think it's Rock Smash. So that's pretty interesting. You could try and mix it up with that. Yeah, I don't know. It's just good. It'll definitely lose against any water types that are out there like Lapras. But it's still hitting steel types. It's hitting fire types. It's taking neutral damage from ice type moves. It's nice. It's nice. I don't know anything about Torkoal, guys. Sorry. Talked about those. Magmortar, I think would be... Actually, I haven't considered it. It might be really good. I don't know enough about Magmortar and the possibility of getting it below 1500 CP. I'm sure it's possible, but I don't know anything about it. So if you do, be sure to tell me, because I have no idea. Alright. 2 more types to check out. Let's go through this more quickly. So we've got ice types. Sandslash Alola, both the steel and ice type. I think that's going to be okay to use. But it's super weak against fire types. It's going to be weak against ground types, which people are going to want to try to bring, I think. It's neutral to steel types, so even a steel versus steel matchup, it's not doing too well. It beats dragons, and it beats ice types a bit. If it's against something like Lapras, Lapras is probably going to beat it. But against other ice types, it does pretty good, I think. Something like a Jinx, it'll beat. Depends on the meta, but I think there's better picks than Sandslash, but I think Sandslash is an interesting pick. You can give it Gyro Ball for fast charge moves, or you can give it, I think, Ice Ball? I don't know, some ice type move that's okay. Blizzard, I think it's Blizzard, Earthquake, and Gyro Ball. I'm pretty sure that's it. Gyro Ball is definitely a 2-charge move. That I'm sure about. The other 2 I'm not sure. I think they're both maybe 1-charge moves. Have to look that up. Ninetales Alola is interesting because that's another fairy type, which means it can shut down dragons, and that's probably what you're thinking, right? But ice types already do that anyway. Where with Mawile, as a steel type, it's not going to be beating dragons because it's a steel type. Does that make sense? Mawile's typing is adding something by it being fairy, where Ninetales Alola, maybe not. I mean, its fairy type moves are resisted by fire types, so it's just losing against fire types even more. Both of its types are super duper weak to steel. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it might win a neutral ice type matchup, but other than that, it's only good against dragons. And if you want something that's just good against dragons, you're better off picking something like Dugong, I think, or Cloyster rather than Ninetales. Dugong and Cloyster, I consider both of these pretty good. But overall, I think Lapras is better than both of them. So for me personally, even though I have either of these 2, because I don't have the Lapras, I'm not going to bother using them. I mean, okay, if you don't have a Lapras, use one of these. It's basically what I'm going to say, I think. But yeah, that's it. I don't know how else to explain it. They're just like semi-Laprases to me. Yeah, Jinx. I think Jinx is pretty strong. It's that psychic typing, so it's going to be bad against things like Giratina, Crunch, Steelix, Bite, Arcanine. But it beats Infernape sometimes. I mean, it kind of ties with Infernape depending on who can get the charge move. Right? So, it beats dragons. That's okay. So it's an okay Pokemon, but I think it's probably better off not here, because ice types are kind of fragile. Articuno, it's a flying type. Nah, that's enough said. Sneasel, it's a bit fragile, I think, for the competition. Although its dark typing will be good, especially if you can get a Weavile, I guess, below 1500. Its dark typing might be okay against something like a Giratina or a Latios. I mean, it's ice type, so it's going to be good against those anyway. So yeah, possibly. Piloswine might bring something different to the table than Mamoswine. Like I said, I tried out Piloswine though, and it didn't seem to really work too well for me, but it might for you guys, so... Yep. Delibird, Flying Ice, may as well just use Articuno, but it's fun. It's a nice Pokemon, so put it on your team if you really like Delibird, but you're probably not going to win the competition with it, I'm sorry to say. Glalie, solid Ice type. I don't know enough, but Glalie, yeah, it's one of those Pokemon that's only Ice. But it's going to be naturally losing against Steel types and Fire types, so watch out for that. And any Rock types that people bring, like Aggron or Macargo. So maybe it's not the best. Celio and Walrein, they have two different uses. Celio is apparently used to body slam opponents, and it's a little bit bulkier maybe? I'm not quite sure. Trilly was telling me about it before, but they do serve different purposes, so definitely check that out if you're considering evolving your Celio, or if you have one or the other. Or if you have both, sorry. Yeah. They're also really good Pokemon. I'd probably consider them better than... Well, I'd consider Walrein probably better than Cloyster. Or... What was the other one? Dugong. But that's an opinion. Based just on what I think is stats. Regice, it's pure ice. So it's really strong as far as pure ice goes, but it's probably not good against fire types, steel types. Abomasnow, we talked about that. It's bad. Fire types are everywhere. Steel types are everywhere. Other ice types are doing more damage to it. Yo, what's up? Glaceon, amazing if it comes out in time. Frostlass is an interesting pick because it might be able to do some damage against things like Giratina and Latios, although it's already doing that with an ice typing. But it should be good regardless against things like Bronzong. It should be actually a pretty even matchup. So if you want some different typing that maybe not necessarily is top tier, but just pretty interesting, go Frostlass. That's about it from this list, I think, that we can use. So my last list up here is from the Steel type Pokemon. And then I should be done with this review thing. This meta-analysis. So, Dugtrio Alola, it's good, but it's already got a better counterpart in Steelix with the same typing, so may as well just use Steelix. Magneton and stuff we talked about. Fortress, I hadn't actually talked about at all. I mean, it can beat Houndoom. I mean, no it can't. It's super weak against fire types. You can beat ice types. You're okay against Dragon. It doesn't really provide much else that's unique, so I wouldn't really worry about using it. But it's there. Scizor could be really great. It's only weak to fire. I mean, it's the same typing, so it's only weak to fire, really. It resists some strange stuff. It's basically the same as Fortress, but because fire types are going to be so prevalent in this meta, I don't think it's really worth using to a high scale. Especially with flying types doing equal damage, so you could use it. It's strong. It normally has good typing, except in this meta, so yeah, do that. I mean, all these steel types are probably going to be weak to fire anyway, but it's something to keep in mind. Maybe I'm not giving it enough credit. Skarmory, it's a flying type, so again, I'm not sure how I feel about it. Like, it beats ice types, right? But it's taking neutral damage from it. And it loses the fire type, so it's not really relevant, I don't think, in this meta. Metagross, strong. Registeel, strong, just a steel type, just strong in general. It's only weak to fire, fighting, and ground, I believe. So fire types are going to be a problem for it, not as much as Scizor though. It's just a strong steel type. If you're lacking one, you want one, Registeel is probably a pretty good pick. Empoleon, definitely nice. I don't know if anyone's actually got Jirachi if that's in the game, but if you do that, tell me, because that'd be cool. Empoleon, yep, great. I think it's good. Do it. It's neutral to fire. Can even beat some fire types. I mean, it's an even fight against fire types. It beats steel types. It beats water types. It has an okay matchup against steel types, especially a lot of the relevant ones like Aggron and Steelix in the meta. And against dragons, it resists dragons. So Empoleon's also a really nice one to be looking at, if you can get it below that 1500 CP mark. Bastiodon, Rock and Steel, same as Aggron. If you prefer using that over Aggron do it. Yeah, that's all the advice I've really got. I haven't even seen a shield on or bash shield on in my game, I don't think so. If you can do it, go for it. Wormodon trash? It's trash, don't use it. Oh, good. I don't think these Pokemon are in the game yet. Because I know Magnezone definitely isn't, so I don't think Lucario is either. So I'm gonna... I mean, Dialga is, though. Yeah, alright. Dialga, solid pick. Kingdra, nice neutral pick. Macargo, interesting. I definitely recommend, you know, looking at these Pokemon that I've said that seem to kind of stand out a little bit. See if you like them on your team and work with that, because I think that's all the Pokemon you can actually really choose from this meta. I think that's actually it. So we just went over every Pokemon. Wow. Good times. If you think that I left out something or something else is more relevant, or if I said something was bad but you think there's a case for it, talk about that. Let me know in the comments below, in the chat, whatever you're on right now, and I'll, yeah, be back in a moment for you guys watching this stream. Alright, catch ya.